Hey team, hope you're having an awesome day. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about a real quick concept that can really help you build your business, get more duplication, and just get your business, get things happening for you faster, and that's a three-way call. Three-way calls are super important for two reasons. One, you don't ever want to be dependent on one person or one personality building your business. You don't want the business to be about you. You want it to be about the system. And three-way calls allows you to be system dependent instead of person dependent. The other major reason we do three-way calls is to bridge the credibility gap between you and your prospect. You know, if you're smart, you're recruiting up. And when you're recruiting up, you may not have as much credibility with people, so you can use an expert and lean on their success and their credibility to see an 8 or a 9. A 5 can't get an 8 or 9. Unless the 5 is smart enough to use an expert who's an 8 or a 9, because that 8 or 9 can get their 8 or 9, and then you get a bunch of 8s and 9s and 10s in your team, and that's the goal, guys. So you can use three-way calls. So the first thing you have to understand when you're doing three-way calls is you got to get great at edification. And edification, I don't have time to go into it on this video, but edification is simply creating the value for your expert, telling about their accomplishments, and basically, without saying it, why your prospect should listen to this person. And the better you are at creating that credibility, the more of an impact they're going to have on your prospect. So first thing is you got to edify. Now, what are some of the reasons and some of the situations where we would use a three-way call? I mean, you could use a three-way call to literally with one of your prospects to invite them to come look at something. I mean, you could get your expert on the phone with your friend and have the expert invite them to a 2-on-1 or a live event or a travel party. Tell their story and invite them to an event. Hey man, I got a real successful my friend, and he said if I'm ever with anyone who's successful that's open-minded and sharp, he'd love to say hello to him, man. Hey, this is Joe Blow. This is one of my most successful friends, Frank, and he's done this, that, and the other. Here's Joe Blow, and let Frank invite him to an event. So you could use it literally for inviting. Obviously, you can use three-way, if you're newer in the business and you're not comfortable closing, you can use an expert to close, to overcome their objections and help them take action and get them started. You can use an expert to get someone who's seen something but they haven't made a decision to move them to the next event, to get them to come out to a live event, to get them to come to a travel party. So you can use an expert for a move along. You can use an expert for a welcome call. I mean, if you're not using an expert, and if you got someone who signed up at a 1-on-1 or a small environment, maybe even a 2-on-1, depending on who you do it with, get them on the phone with an expert. Do a welcome call. Do a welcome game plan call. Use a three-way call for that. Again, you got to make it bigger than you. When times get tough, they got to know there's more than just you to help them in the support system. They got to know there's a bigger story, there's a bigger picture here. And the other thing is your expert's going to edify you back, and they're going to raise your credibility if it's done right. And then the last thing is you're going to use three-way calls to promote trainings. I mean, if you've got people that aren't registered for the View and you haven't gotten someone in your upline or your sideline or someone that has a great story about what happened to them when they went to the View that can help them overcome some objections of money and time, you got to use an expert. Bottom line is, guys, for most of us, profit's not welcome in our own hometown. Your friends don't listen to you. So you may be able to get them started. You may be able to get them moving in the right direction. But if you really want them to take the next step and engage, it's very important to use an expert, okay? So bottom line is, guys, three-way calls are very important. Now, last thing, if you are the expert, it's important that you understand you got to value people's time. If you're the expert on a call, you don't want to take a long time. You just basically want to tell your story, be relatable, be likable, tell your 30-minute testimonial, what you used to do, what happened since you got involved in World Ventures, what your successes have been. And then, if you're helping close them, just say, hey man, is there anything else, what do you like best about it? Travel, the money, both. Great, you like the money, do you want to make a little bit of money? Do you want to make a lot of money? You want to make a lot of money? Great, what do you want the money for? Well, I'll tell you what, is there anything else you need to know before we help you make that money so you can do this, that, and the other? No? Great. Are you ready to get started? Help them take action. The bottom line is, guys, that's our job as the expert, is to make boom. And then the last thing is you really got to understand is that when you're the expert, you got to edify the person who set the call up, who that person you're working with. If Joe Blow set up a call for me and I'm talking to his prospects saying, by the way, you're working with Joe Blow. I mean, he's been one of our most dedicated, focused people I've been working with in the last 90 days, and he's on track to have big results with this thing. And if you lock arms with Joe Blow and we all three work together, we can do some big things here. You know, Joe Blow's on track, or you know, Joe Blow is someone who really cares about people's success, and you're really lucky to be working with him. And even though he's only been around a short time, I can see already that he's going to do big things. So you got to give the credibility back to the person. So they edify the expert, and then the expert edifies you back, and we create this credibility. And we build people up, and people want to be around people that are doing well. And if we build people up and we use three-way calls, we're going to be able to recruit up. We're going to be able to get people in our business that are more successful than us, and we're going to create duplication. So I hope you're using three-way calls, guys. If you're not doing 2 or 3 three-way calls a day, you're just not building it. We got to get this thing working. You got to get yourself out of the way, and you got to go that extra step to get your people connected to the right people, and you can win big in this thing. We'll see you at the top, guys. Take care. God bless.